Welcome back to the channel. So on this week's episode, we got a lot of cool stuff going on in the shop, so let's get to it. You're watching the Vasco Speed and Performance YouTube channel. So, after months and months of sitting, it is now time to finally fix the rear end of the Camaro. So, let's get it loaded up. Well, here it is. This is my Camaro. It has literally been on jack stands since I broke the rear end at the streetcar takeover in the spring. Still got the stickers on it from that. So, it's been a long time. Haven't raced it all summer. It's time to get her on the trailer. Time to get this rear end fixed. So, let's load this thing up.
I can taste it on her lips. It's dripping off her fingertips. I can see it in her eyes. That girl, she likes the spice and she wants some more of it.
So I've always had a sweet spot for the CTS-Vs, and this one is just a work of art. So this is Sean's car. We've worked on it in the past. We did a DXX fuel system on this at one point, but he's had the car setting for a little while, and it's got a little bit of a drivability issue. So we're going to see if we can figure out what's going on with the engine on that one. So we're going to work on that one. We also got this dropped off. So this is a K5 Blazer. So this is a customer of ours. We did a dually for him a while back, and this has got a recent paint job, and it's got an LS in it with a 4L60E and a transfer case. All this is from a local engine place we call Dahmer Powertrain in Kansas City. They rebuild engines and stuff, so that's where he got all that from. So he did the majority of this himself, putting the engine in. So we're going to go through and wire it, put vintage air on it, all that kind of stuff. So there's that one. As you saw, we unloaded the Camaro, and we're gonna try and work on it this week. It's Halloween week, so I'm not sure how that's gonna work because my wife loves Halloween. So, but we got some gears to put on that thing there, and then the other project is a Honda Civic. Yeah, you didn't get out of it. It was too quick for you, didn't I?
You're so fast.
Okay, so check out this car, right? Shoo-wee! I love some clean CTS-Vs, and this is a clean CTS-V. Look at the wheels on that thing. Man.
Definitely paying me too much if I can afford this thing.
Oh, shoot. So this, we actually put a flex fuel sensor on it, and I believe we did, it's been a long time, I believe we did a auxiliary fuel pump and stuff on it years ago. But anyways, it's back to us now. It's got a little bit of a drivability issue. So what we've done is it has pretty much a dead miss, I would say. So we went ahead and pulled all the plugs out of it, and we pulled the injectors out. We're going to take the injectors and clean the injectors, and we're going to throw a set of new plugs in it and then take it out and drive it and see how it does. So here are all the plugs, and Matthew did a good job of putting them in order so we know where everything's at. So if you're tracing a misfire, it's always a good idea to put everything in order the way it comes out so you can kind of go back through and see where everything came from. But it's got a really nice set of injectors in it, and he said he ran some 85 in it, and then he probably left it in there a while. So we're assuming they're probably just dirty, but we're going to take them, clean them, and then throw a set of new plugs in it, and then we will go from there, because I don't know if you can even zoom in on that, but they don't look the best. So, but yeah, that's where we're at on the CTS-V. getting all prepared to do some more cutting. Mike's car. So we've got the most of this wheel tub cut out. We've got the upper torque box tacked into place, so he's going to work on getting these cut out today. Once he gets these cut out, then we'll work on getting the lower torque boxes out and make some progress there. Okay, well, we got the wheel tubs cut out on Mike's car, and we got this lower torque box cut out. A good comparison to see what it used to look like is over here. So basically we're just going through and cutting the majority of the chunks out, and then we're going to go and clean up the frame rails to get them back to the bare frame. You'll notice that this side, the pinch weld seems to be pretty decent, straight and clean. Whereas this side, you can see like a buckle in it right here, and somebody has MIG welded this. So what we're gonna do in order to get this in there, we're gonna have to cut this off, clean it off, and then probably go back, cut these welds out, and then try to flatten that, massage that back down so that we get a good flat surface to go off of when we put the new torque boxes in. So also it had subframe connectors on it, so we cut the majority of those off. We got to get the rest of that one cut off on this side and that one cut off on that side, and then we can once you get all the prep work done, putting the actual torque boxes in themselves shouldn't be that bad of a job. It's just the hard part is cutting everything out. So that being said, we're going to work on the getting the wheel tubs put in, and then work on getting the other torque box cut out. Okay, we got Matthew slaving away, but he's got the majority of this weld cut, and he's going to hammer and dolly this to try to get this to pull down and be flat with the outside of the rocker. So he's excited. That's the goal. Got a whole bunch more of Mike's car left on the ground now, but Matthew pretty much got the majority of this cleaned up. He tried to get this out, as you saw in the video, but it's being a little bit more of a pain in the butt than what we were hoping. So the only other thing I can think of is you might have to weld a tab to it and then like try to use a slide hammer to pull it down. I just don't know how well it's going to pull out, but we'll eventually get that part figured out. But it's just a tedious process doing these torque boxes, so he's struggling through it just because it's a pain in the butt, but we'll get her knocked out. Well, 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 look who stopped by the shop on his way down to Florida. The beater bomb himself. Well, we had a surprise visitor come by the shop today. So today is Sunday, and Joey is on his way down to Florida for the Cletus
all-wheel drive
versus rear-wheel drive race.
And you know, so this is special because we didn't have to fix anything.
Not yet. But Jordan's going with him, so if anything breaks, you got a welder with you, so you're good there. So
wouldn't be the first time.
It wouldn't be the first time, so. But yeah, safe travels on your way down, Joey. It's good seeing you. So
right.
Have fun.
Thanks.
Okay, well, I got the ring gear out with the Detroit True Track, and this is all that's left of the pinion that's in there, so not very good. And then there's a whole bunch of debris up in there. It looked like it hit the case pretty hard right there. I made sure to keep the shims on each side to side, so hopefully it'll go back close, but you can just see how much metal and stuff is in here, so I'm gonna have to clean all this out, but I'm gonna work on getting that pinion out first. Okay, so I have the pinion out, I have the ring gear out, I've got the Detroit True Track out, I've got all the bearings out, I kept my shims side to side, I kept my shims for the front. Now I've brake cleaned it out. There was a whole bunch up in this little cavity here. That goes up there to the pinion, and then there's still some in the tube, so I'm gonna get something to clean the tubes out. But for now, the case is pretty much for the most part cleaned out, and now we can start working on getting the new years set up with the bearings and the spool and yada yada yada. Okay, so I went ahead and just brake cleaned this off. It's incredible how much of this pinion is gone. I mean, look, half of it's gone. So hey, when I did it good. So one thing I'm going to do next is I'm going to pull this bearing off. One, I'm going to try to utilize this bearing for when we go to set up the new rear end. Also, I need to know how many shims are between this bearing and the pinion. So I got to get that bearing off, so that's what I'm going to work on next. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure all of my shims that I have, and I've already got some bags labeled here. So I've got one for the driver's carrier, one for the passenger side carrier, for the front pinion and for the rear of the pinion. So the front pinion's the easiest one, so let's just get it and we will grab it. So this is a solid crush sleeve. It will not crush, that's the point of it. And we've just got, looks like 3 individual shims here. So I'm going to clean these off, and then I'm going to get my dial indicator out, and I'm going to measure and see what we've got. So this thing zeroed out. We are at 0. We have got 0.045. So I'm going to write that down, 0.045. Put this in our bag. That way they don't get mixed up or lost or anything like that. So that was done. Now let's go to the rear of the pinion. So drag it over here. And this one has got quite a few on it from what I remember. Looks like 2 so far. Maybe it's only 2. Yep. So I thought there was more than that, but apparently there's only 2. Clean those off and get that measurement. Again, zeroing this thing out. This one's at 0.028. And we're going back with Richmond gears, which is what we had in it. So in my theory, we should be pretty close on our setup. So this is this side. So there's actually 3 gears, 2 big ones and 1 little one. So let's measure these. See what we got there. So this side is at 0.223. Let's make sure it's 0. Yep. We'll do 0.215. And on for the last one. This is just going to help me keep everything organized, so in case something falls or whatever, it's in the bag, it's not going to go nowhere. This one probably has the most, so this one's got 1, 2, it's got 2 big ones and 2 little ones, so let's see what this one adds up to be. And it's also a good idea to go ahead and clean these because they've got chunks of metal on them from when the rear end did blow up, so we'll probably end up going back with new, like brand new ones, but not a bad idea to measure the old ones. So okay, we're zeroed out, and this one's at 0.23, so let's go 0.23 4. Okay, so we got the ring gear on, we got all the bolts on and tight. I tightened them to the 60 foot-pounds like the instruction says, and I like to use this paint marker. They work really good. That way you don't know, like you're not confused which one you tightened, which one you didn't. We also use this a lot on suspension, so when you're building a car like the F100, they have paint marks all over it because we just go over and make sure that everything's tight. So kind of a cool little deal that we do. So the next thing I need to do is press the new bearings onto the end of the carrier, and then that part will be done. Okay, so I just got the bearing pressed on one side, and you'll notice like there's a gap there. So it was stopping on the top of this, so I need to find something that is this distance here to push it on a little bit further. So I'm gonna look for something to press it on a little further. So unsuccessful, haven't found anything to go over this, but go inside of this hole. So I found this. This is a tool that is used to push on crank balancers on an LS. So it is close and it would work, but this area is too thick. So what I've done is I've measure this inside distance here, and so it's that. And so I could actually put this in the lathe and turn it down just a little bit. I think we'll make it work, so let's do that. Well, as you might have saw, I had a big oops. It went in a little too far and it grabbed on me right there. So hopefully I didn't screw it up too bad, and hopefully the lathe still works. So it completely stopped on me, which I just put a new belt on it because we broke it the last time. So I'm gonna rechuck this up and hope for the best. Well, as you can see, the belt that I just bought destroyed in one little mess up. Luckily it came with 2. So I'm gonna put this new belt on and then we'll be back up and running. Okay, so we've got both frame rails. They're tacked in. They're not fully welded in, but they're tacked in, and they're clamped in up front in case we need to adjust something. So we ended up having to notch the lower part of the frame rail to let the K-member go back a little further, because these are actually for a Mustang, not for a Maverick, because they don't make frame rails for a Maverick. So that being said, that's one of the things that we are going to do, but we need to get the K-member and stuff in, but we can't do that until we had the rear end squared. So now that the rear end's squared, we know everything's good back there. We're gonna measure forward. The 103 inches is what the wheelbase is from the factory. And we will be able to tell where our spindle needs to go, and then we can put the K-member up in there, mark where we need to drill the holes, put the sleeves in, and then bolt the K-member in. So that's what we're gonna get after. Joey has them on his car.
For like travel or some shit.
Yeah, he has a pretty decent one. I just put an inch on you. So you're at 21.5?
Yeah.
Okay, so this side is at 21 3/4. So I think you just need to come forward a little bit. Good? Yep. Cool. I think I can get from there. I'm gonna try and drill some holes, and honestly I think that we're gonna have to use a spacer of some sort.
Yeah.
I'll probably just end up making something that's big and the whole width of that.
I mean, could you do like some rectangular tubing or something, or like a
Something, yeah.
and
Something
then
that
sleeve it
it'll
too?
be 1 inch, you know. Okay, well, we have the sleeves put in all 4 corners, and I got that one welded, that one's welded. I got to sand the top of it so it's smooth. We actually got to get some longer bolts because we ended up spacing the cam member down 1 inch. There's 2 reasons for that. One, the frame wasn't allow us to get our correct wheelbase spacing, and the other thing is the oil pan on this car is pretty thick, so it figured it wouldn't hurt to add an extra inch to move it down. So right now we just have aluminum spacers in there, but we'll probably end up making a 1-piece spacer or something a little bit different, but we'll get to that eventually, but for now it'll work. So once we get these welded in, then we'll be good. We're gonna go ahead and make the other strut mount. That'll hold that, make sure our wheelbase is correct there, and make sure everything's centered, and then we can start fully welding the frame rails in and start getting the engine stabbed. Okay, so we made pretty good progress on the Maverick today. I got the frame rails squared away. I got the other spindle mount made. So both of those are made. I got the motor plate cut down and rough fit in there. So I know that from the surface of this to the back of the block on a big block Ford is 22 3/4. So I left about 2 inches between the firewall and the back of the bell housing. So hopefully that'll give you enough room. We will make some tabs here, and I still have to weld the front of the frame rails. So what I'll probably do is tack weld those and put some braces underneath here so that we can set the engine in here. And then I'll probably cut these off of this one and do the same to the mid plate and get the engine in there and just mocked up with the bare block. But right now, with this lines directly up with the pinion, and it's centered between both of the frame rails. So I think we're setting pretty good. We even stuck a laser on here and looked at the center this direction to the back of where the pinion's at, and it's about 1.5 inches high, which I think will work out pretty good because you're going to figure your engine's going to have a 2-degree downslope to it. So by the time you get back there, it might actually work out perfect. So, but yeah, that's where we're at on the Maverick, making progress, chugging away at it. So it's looking good. Honda Civics, yep. So we don't really mess with a lot of Hondas here, but this customer got a hold of us is wanting a belly pan. So we are going to make a belly pan for Honda Civics. I don't know much about Hondas, but I assume most everybody has this style lower radiator support on them. But that's what we're going to be designing it off of. So if you end up needing a Honda belly pan, we're going to start getting into that market. So let's get to building a belly pan for this thing. Okay, so here's what I've come up with for the belly pan design. So whenever I do a belly pan, I design it in Fusion 360. It's a pretty cool way to look at things, but you can like move it around and see how it's gonna look in 3D. And the way I do this in the sheet metal program, which is like right here. And so once you get it designed and you're going to go to cut it, you can go over to the manufacturing, and then you go to models, and this is our way we're going to cut it out. So when we go to cut it out, it'll look like this, and then where all these blue lines are at is where we'll have to bend it at. So let's get this thing on the plastic table, cut it out, and see how it fits. Okay, so here's the first design. I don't really like it. One, it just looks too plain to me. I knew that going into this, so I like to try to change it as I go and improve it and make it better. So what I'm actually gonna try to do here is, as you can see, this hits this bar. When I measured it, I thought I had it right. Clearly I didn't. So I'm going to essentially cut these corners off of these sides like that. And then back here, since there's a decent amount of room, I'm gonna make this 4 inches back here in the back. So it'll hang down about this low in the back, and then we're going to notch this out so this piece will actually go up higher over here, and it'll come up through here. The thought process is when this thing explodes, if it explodes, then it's going to come out this direction in the front. So the goal is to try and protect as much of that as possible. So we are going to work on redesigning this and making a new one. Hopefully the next one fits and is a lot better. Well, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. And again, as always, I appreciate everybody coming by. Literally, we were at 1,100 the other day, maybe last week, and we're already up to 1,300 subscribers. So let's keep this channel growing. I'm going to continue to crank out content, and hopefully I can keep you guys entertained for the little amount of time that I got you. But that being said, I appreciate everybody coming by the channel as always. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.